The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Human Rights and Justice for All. This is your show host, Greg Malone. I welcome you this day. Unfortunately, I saw in the news this morning that our government has shut down, and I hope and pray for all those who are affected by this that you'll be able to weather the storm. If you know somebody that is in this boat, please help them out and support them, even just with an encouraging word. I want to let you know that this show consists of topics that I deem important to us individually and to our society. The highest goal of my show is love, the love of God first and the love of my fellow man second. The basis of all my reasoning is truth is absolute. When something is true, nothing can be said or done that can change that truth. It is what it is. Human rights are given to us by God. They are mentioned in the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This radio show is about truth, wisdom, and learning what is right, honest, and fair. This platform is to empower good citizens to learn to be wise, engaging in knowledge and good sense. If you are already wise, we together will be made wiser. Only a fool rejects wisdom and good advice. Also, I'd like to remind you that the power of life and death are in the tongue. So I ask you today to choose life. This is a live call-in show, so that you can call in on 561-623-9429. That's 561-623-9429. And I invite you to do that. I'd love to have you call in on the radio show. My email address is humanrightsandjusticeforall@gmail.com. And I'd just like to have you write in, contact the show if you'd like, and maybe even support us. That would be great. I'm also on Twitter at Rights Justice. That's capital R in Rights and capital J in Justice, all one word, on Twitter, and you can bring me up on that. Also, as in a way of supporting the show, I've listed several knives that I make. These are flint knap knives made of flint and colored glass, and they're very beautiful, very good looking, in my opinion anyway. They have bone and antler handles. They're very nice and very well made. I'd like you to contact me if you'd like one of these knives. They're reasonably priced, and they will go to help support the show and to reach out to minister to other people. I'd also like to let you know that I do plan future trips to inner city areas in the future to minister to the poor and the needy of those communities. If you'd like to participate in that, you can give me a call at 315-744-0007. And I will direct you on how we can get together to do that. So on this show for today is it's on teen issues primarily, issues of teen suicide, boys and girls' body image and tips for that, and the most important problems to Americans. And first thing I'd like to do is ask a question. This question is pretty easy for most people to answer, and that question is, who wouldn't give their life for their child? And many people, for any child, if they saw a child in danger, would risk their own lives to save that child. I know my wife and I as parents, saw some of our children, at least two of them go through, actually all three of them go through a severe illness. My son had meningitis at 3 months, and we were very, very concerned, and I would have gladly traded places with him. My daughter was diagnosed with leukemia at one point, and just was in really tough shape. And again, we would have traded places with them. And then my younger son had a burst appendix and was very, very ill because of that. And again, we would have traded places with him. So, the compassion of a parent towards a child should be such that they would give their life for that child. And this is somewhat the same as Jesus Christ giving his life for us and saving us and dying for us to make sure that we have eternal life. But there are other parents who really have little to no care of their children. And this is a lot of this is due to neglect. Some of them are drug abusers. Some of them just don't care. Some of them just abandon their children and just leave them. And one of for sure a parent who does not care for their child is a woman in an abortion clinic who is about to kill their child for convenience, for financial security, to not be embarrassed, to just use it as a form of birth control. And this is a very sad situation. I'm not coming down on women here because this is primarily a woman's issue, but it also is the man's issue that got that woman or young girl pregnant. They are also part of this, and if they allow this to happen, they are just as guilty as the mother who aborts her baby. So I would just like to say that it's very important to me that people love their children and would give their lives for their children and not neglect their children. I'd like to read a verse in the Bible. It's Mark chapter 9, verses 36 through 37. It says, this is Jesus, story about Jesus. He said, he took a little child and had him standing among them. Taking him in his arms, he said to them, whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me. And he's referring to his Father in heaven, God. So if we welcome a child in Jesus' name, we are really recognizing God and Jesus himself. So hug a kid today. Make sure it's one of your own or well known to yourself, because if you just go up hugging random children, you'll probably get the police called on you. So don't do that. Find somebody that you care about, and then you can give them a hug. Okay. Kids need hugs, and I think it's a great thing for that to happen. Next thing is is on teen suicide. And with regard to this is a Fox News article by Julie Rebelant. This is called Teen Suicide Is Your Child at Risk? This was published September 15th of 2013, so it was just a few weeks ago that this was published. And she's basically talking about, it seems like every week there's another story about a teen committing suicide. And she states here that bullying is usually cited as the culprit, but experts say the problem is much more complicated. We'll get into those other complications a little bit further. And let's get some statistics out here that she cites. This is according to the Centers for Disease Control, and this is basically from a 2011 report. The Centers for Disease Control are kind of slow about getting reports out because they're, first of all, a governmental organization, and second of all, they are a very slow-moving beast because of their bureaucracy that it's encumbered with. But anyway, getting back to the Center for Disease reports from 2011, suicide is the third leading cause of death in kids ages 15 to 24. So the third leading causes of death in ages 15 to 24. Suicide attempts are on the rise too, from 6.3% in 2009 to 7.8% in 2011. And now we're in 2013. I wonder what the numbers are today. At that percent of rise, we should be nearing the 10% area in 2013, almost 2014. So it is on the rise, and I think society has a lot to do with that, and social media. And then they go into the truth. The real truth is that it seems like suicide is happening frequently, but actually it's being in teens and in children, the ratio of suicide attempts to actual suicide successes are 100 to 200 to 1. So for every 100 to 200 children who attempt suicide, only one child dies. But even that one child, it's a huge tragedy, and it is affecting many communities in our nation. And just to give you some comparison, in adults, the ratio is 4 to 1, according to the Association for Suicidology. Now, I've been to this Suicidology site, and it's a really good fact-finding place. They again, 4 to 1 in adults. So 4 try and 1 is successful. That's like a 25% success rate in actually committing suicide. So it's much more serious when it is attempted by older adults. Excuse me. So, it is a huge problem among adults, but it is a problem among children, because think about it. 100 to 200 are trying it, or trying some form of it, and crying out for attention, and not just crying out for attention, but exposing their pain that they're dealing with, and this is in the despair, maybe even mental illness that they're dealing with. So we need to be aware of this, and we need to love our kids and tell them we love them all the time, and treat them with respect and kindness, and you will find that your child will respond to you and come to you when they're troubled, instead of seeking another way out. A recent study in the Journal of Adolescent Health showed that kids who are bullied are 3 to 5 times more likely to have suicidal thoughts or make attempts than those who are not. So if your child is being bullied, you need to take it seriously and do something about it. Now, back in the day when I was a kid being raised, we didn't have social media. We had the bus we rode, and all the gossip was exchanged there or at school. And but today they have the internet. They're constantly in communications almost around the clock, 24 hours a day. And they have the ability to transmit pictures of themselves, and girls with these what's called selfies. They're not necessarily evil or bad. It's just constantly taking pictures of themselves in different poses with different facial features. And boys are doing this too. And they're publishing them out there. And then when people either ignore these or criticize them, they're devastated, because one of the highest things that teens want is acceptance from their peer group. And if they're not getting that, they will sometimes become depressed or angry or embittered. So we want to make sure that our kids are, getting the love they need and the support they need at home. And again, I gave some statistics last week with regard to types of child abuse, and the number one type was 78.3% was neglect. that is the biggest form of child abuse that